1971 to 1974. Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
National League Championship, Phillies at Pirates.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the National League Championship Series. It's the Phillies and the Pirates, the National League Championship Series. Two teams who, I don't know, a month or so ago were just kind of treading water. We didn't think much was going to come out of either of them. Phillies were in third place in the East. The Pirates were in trouble, facing an elimination series with the Reds. But all has changed. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh both went on rolls, oddly enough, after they played each other. We could take a peek at that and see the moment where everything kind of swung in the National League. We got to go back to the 5-game elimination series here, midway through the tournament. A best of 5 would normally eliminate one of these teams, unless there were worse teams in this bracket to get eliminated, and there were, including Colorado, Arizona, a 300-500 Mets team, and the Padres team, who barely fell behind Pittsburgh. So even though Philadelphia won 3-2, Philadelphia was 20-17, and Pittsburgh was 20-20. Let's start with the road Phillies. They started by beating up on the Marlins 3 straight, and then after that they beat the Pirates 3-2, so that's 6-2, and then after that they beat the Cardinals 2 out of 3, got them into the wild card round, and then in the wild card round, the first of a couple upsets. Well, not really. They beat Portland, the division winner, who wasn't very good, 3 straight. But then the huge upset was that the number 5 Phillies now upset the number 1 Braves 4-2. So Philadelphia's won everything asked of them since the All-Star break. They've won every series in the tournament, wild card, divisional round, and have been very impressive. And then they know they just beat this Pirate team 3-2 not too long ago. Pirates, on the other hand, it looked like this season was over for them. They had to beat the Reds in a best of 7. They did, 4-2. That put them on life support. Then, of course, they lost 3-2 to the Phillies, and they didn't pull the plug on the Pirates. They were just barely had a pulse. But they had their task was to beat Houston 3 straight, and they did. They beat Houston 3 straight, so they survived 3 elimination games against Houston, just to finish in a tie with the Cubs for the division title, meaning that the Cubs and the Pirates would meet in the wild card round, and the Pirates won again. They beat the Cubs 3-1. They had beaten the Cubs 4-1 in the regular season. They are now 6-1 through to the divisional round, and then they beat the Giants 4-2 to get to this league championship series. One other thing that's really helped the Pirates is that in interleague play, they are +2. And why is being +2 in interleague play very good? Because the rest of the National League is 15 games under 500. That +2 really came in handy because it kept them alive enough to just barely catch the Cubs and get their playoff run started. But now that they're in the playoffs and now that they're in the league championship series, throw all that out the window. The Pirates won the 1971 World Series. They had the best record in the National League in 1972. And the Phillies did not do much in the early part of the 1970s. But this Philadelphia team is special ever since they added Mike Schmidt and Gary Maddox, particularly, to the offense. And they added Wayne Twitchell, a nice starting pitcher, not remembered for much in the Philadelphia championship years, but he was a very good pitcher for them in '73, along with, of course, 27-game winner lefty. Pitching matchups. Philadelphia will go with Carlton, then Pat Dobson, who they got from Baltimore. One of those 420 game winners Baltimore had in 71. Now it's starting to make a little bit of sense here why these Phillies are doing nice stuff. Because you have Wayne Twitchell, I said, is good, and the number 4 starter will be Barry Lersch in a game 7. Pittsburgh will go Blast, Jim Rooker, the lefty, Bob Moose, and then Blast. Then I'll go with Alan Foster, saving Jim Rooker for a game 7. We'll give you game 1 and every elimination moment thereafter until we have our World Series participant. Today's pitchers, of course, for the Phillies, it is 27-game winner Steve Carlton with a 1.98 ERA, 346 innings in 1972. And the Pirates will send Steve Blass, 1 game 7 of that 71 World Series, a 15-game winner with a 2.85 ERA. Carlton Blass will meet twice in this League Championship Series. Let's get started. We're in Pennsylvania, we know that. But let's get started from Pittsburgh, recently up at Three Rivers Stadium. Leading off for the Phillies, it's Mike Schmidt. 57 is a K. Gary Maddox, 56 is a K. And Greg Luzinski, 48 is a walk. Darren Johnson, 39 is a K. Bottom of 1, Richie Hebner. 1-2, grounds a short. Manny St. Ian, 58 is a K. And Al Oliver, 57 is a K. Top of the 2nd, Johnny Callison, 49, single 1 to 6. Gets it on a 5. Another big hit for Callison, having a huge year. Tony Taylor, 1-2, fouls to the catcher. Tim McCarver, 48, is single ... Runners are on the corners. They're going to bring it up for Larry Boa. 38, Boa with a single ... off his card. It is 1-0. Going to keep it up for Denny Doyle. 48 again, the lefties. They know where the single ... are on the Blast card, and here come these Phillies again. 2-0. Runners on the corners, 1 out still. Keeping it up for Mike Schmidt. 2-7 is a walk. Oh my goodness, Blast in trouble. He's going to play it back this time for Gary Maddox with the bases loaded, 1 out. 45 off of Blast's card is a single to right field. 1 run scores. Denny Doyle will not take on the Roberto Clemente arm. -5. Still loaded, 1 out. Playing back for Greg Luzinski. 3-6 is a K. And with 2 outs, and the bases loaded, it's Darren Johnson. 1-6 is a K. Oddly enough, if you would have flipped these 2 batters, you would have hit home runs. But, yeah, that's how close that was. 3-0, Phillies bat around. Probably wish they scored more. Is 3 going to be enough for Steve Carlton? Bottom of the 2nd, Roberto Clemente. 66 is a K. Stargell, 57 is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Richie Zisk. 4-12, flies to center. Top of the 3rd, it's Johnny Callison. 6-11 off Blast. Pitcher X, Blast is an E24. He makes the play. Tony Taylor, 1-7, bounce to short. And McCarver, 68, pops to short. Bottom of the 3rd, Bob Robertson, 64, catcher's card. 4E12 makes the play. Frank Tavares, 2-5, lines are short. And Bill Mazeroski, 1-5, is a bouncer to short. Lefty is sailing through that dangerous Pirate lineup, 9 up and down. Into the 4th, it'll be Larry Boa. 1-5, flies the right. Denny Doyle, 52, flies to right, and with 2 outs, Mike Schmidt. 56 is a K. Blast settles down. 1 really bad inning in the middle, 4 here. Richie Hebner, 69. This guy's the center. Sanguian 1-7, and there is a base hit. We got a man on with 1 out for Al Oliver. 1-9 is a 4-6-3 double play. Well, top of the 5th, Gary Maddox. 65, center. Greg Luzinski, 37, is a K. And Darren Johnson, 1-3, bounces to short. Briskly moving game 1, 3-0, bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay, Pirates. Fell behind in their previous series, 0-2. Then they tied it up 2 games apiece, and they lost Game 5. They've never really been ahead of the Phillies. And same thing today. Here is Clemente leading off. 58 is a K. Stargell 1-5 is a K. Richie Zisk, 34, bounces to 3rd. Lefty with a nifty 1-hitter here. Top of the 6th, Johnny Callison, 59, second. Tony Taylor, 1-5. This guy's the center. Tim McCarver, 6'11". Pitcher X for Blast, an E24 pitcher. And he makes another play on a bad E rating. Well, that was a couple of nice breaks there. Bottom of the 6th, it'll be Bob Robertson. 43, left X. This is Luzinski, a 4-13 in left field. And that'll be a base hit. Frank Tavares getting a rare start against lefties with their Milbourne against righties. 4-10 is 3rd X. Got to stay out of double play here. He's a 2-26 at 3rd base. And that's an error on the young Mike Schmidt. Oddly enough, his E rating would be between 25 and 30 most of the career. But yeah, that's an error for Mike. So Bill Mazeroski is your tie run for the Pirates. 37 flies left. Richie Hebner. 46, and they finally get to lefty's card. There's not much there when you get there. It is double 1, fly ball the rest, and that's fly ball the rest. That's disappointing. And with 2 outs, big moment here for Manny Sanguian. Let's take a look at a card. Let's look at this guy, Manny Sanguian, 72 card, 298. Minus 3-arm catcher, 1. One of his better years. Pitch to Sanguian. 65, bounces to 2nd base. Top of the 7th, Larry Boa. 2-7, pops out. Denny Doyle, 6-12, bounces to 1st. And Mike Schmidt, 38 is a K. Stretch time here in Pittsburgh. We are enjoying the Intruders super hits of 1973. Hey, love is like a baseball game. We'll be United Cowboys the girls. Slow drag. All the great hits from the Intruders. Great Philly soul sound, or Pennsylvania you could say. Played probably in Pittsburgh radio and Philadelphia radio for that matter. Bottom of the 7th, Carlton. 1 hit, legit one, and 1 off the defense. And this, 2-0 affair. Bottom of the 7th. It'll be Al Oliver. 37 is a walk. Roberto Clemente. 1-6. Let's take a look at Roberto Clemente's card of 71. Crushes lefties. 341 average. Was your World Series MVP. Might need to start kicking it up a notch now for your beloved Pirates here. 1-6 for Roberto. Homer 1-11. Double the rest. And it is gone on a 5. We have a 1-run game in the opener. We've got some excitement now in Pittsburgh. It'll be club home run leader, Willie Stargell. 56 strikes out. Richie Zisk. 36, single 1 to 8. Can't get it. And with 2 outs, it's Bob Robertson. 2-5, grounds to short. All right, Steve Blass for the Pirates will continue into the 8th. This is his breaking inning. Carlton is a 9. Gary Maddox, 64, catcher's card. And this is Sanguino 1E11. Greg Luzinski, 65, center. And Darren Johnson, 49, second X. Second baseman Mazeroski's a 2E10. Makes the play. Bottom of the 8th. It'll be Frank Tavares. 37 Ks. Can't steal first base. One of the axioms in baseball, which is why the speedy Tavares has been on the bench most of the year. Bill Mazeroski. 1-8 is a base hit. He is your tie run as we go back up top, and it'll be Richie Hebner. Let's take a look at the probably the most valuable Pirate is Richie Hebner. As soon as they put him in the leadoff spot, he's like literally the 6th or 7th guy to lead off for the Pirates this year, as they've struggled finding that spark. But Hebner has been put up here right as the winning streak started, mostly because he gets a ton of walks, actually crushes left-handed pitching as well. 72, 19 homers, and a 300 batting average. Big at-bat here for Richie Hebner, with 1 on and 1 out. Here's the pitch. 45 off Carlton, and this is going to be a chance. It's actually a double to left field. A clean double to left field. You have a zero arm of Luzinski. You got Mazeroski, who is a 10 runner. So no, they're going to keep him. Third base coach says jam on the brakes. That's why we have Manny Sanguine, Al Oliver, Roberto Clemente for this particular moment here. We got some sticks. There's no noise in the Philadelphia bullpen. This is lefty's game, would appear. As is a 9 breaking point inning, not an 8. So you have second and third, 1 out. They will bring the infield up. And Carlton will deal to Manny Sanguine. 2-7 is a liner to short, and with 2 outs. Big at-bat here for Al Oliver. Let's show it to you. Hits lefties and right. Hits lefties better than righties, you could say. Yeah, hit .312 with 12 homers and 72. Folks, the Pirates don't have to apologize to anybody. They got the best offense in this sport. You know, they're they should be the #1 seed in all of baseball. So it's no surprise that a star player is at the plate in a big moment here. Any of these 9 guys are a star player in a big moment. But here we go. 2 on, 2 outs. The pitch to Al Oliver. 2-8, and Al Oliver delivers the single. And it is single ... And that 2-run single gives the Pirates the lead. Wow. I mean, what are you going to do? You going to walk in the pitch to Roberto Clemente again? Or Willie Stargell? Or Richie Zisk? Or Bob Robertson? Not a lot you can do. And for the first time, the Phillies, the young Phillies, have had a sad moment in their season as they've lost the lead in the 8th with their star pitcher out there. Oliver will be at first with 2 outs. It's Roberto Clemente. 38 is a fly ball to left. Buckle up, folks. We go to the 9th. Blas. He's been brilliant since that second inning. Actually, remove the second inning, he's throwing a no-no with a walk. So Steve Blas has gotten 20 outs in a row after this blip here in the second inning. And that blip is what Philly needs to do again. Hard to pull a pitcher like that, so Blas will continue. Short leash, though. Pirates have one of the best back end of the bullpens, Dave Justy, Ramon Hernandez. So, in the 9th, it'll be Johnny Callison, who's 1 for 3, having a big year for the Phillies. Do the Pirates want to change defense anywhere? No. Either best defense for both teams is present. So Johnny Callison will swing away here in the top of the 9th. Here's the pitch. 4-11 off of Blas. Left X, you got Stargell, a 3-4 in left field. And he makes the grab. Nice running catch by Stargell. Really increases your chances of victory now. It's Tony Taylor. 1-9 is a bouncer to third, and with 2 outs. And you're seeing that this is a front-loaded Philadelphia lineup. Schmidt, Maddox, Luzinski, Darren Johnson. Then at the bottom, it's not that great with McCarver, Boa, Doyle. And here is Tim McCarver. Let's take a look at his card before he swings. Was with the Phillies in 71. I think he was somehow got to the Expos, and then he came back to the Phillies, or I don't forget how that worked. But anyway, in 71, he does it 278 with 8 home runs. Has a decent chance of home run on his card here. He will swing as Blast is going to go for an improbable complete game after where we were in the second inning. Here's the pitch to Tim McCarver. 2-8 for McCarver is a pop to first base, and Steve Blass does the trick today. He beats lefty. He falls behind early. They bat around against him. Bunch of singles though, no extra base hits at all. And then he's dominant from there on out. Well, lefty has big problems in the 7th and 8th inning, giving up 4 runs and 5 base runners. And the Pirates win a nail-biter on Game 1 by a score of 4-3. So we'll take a break, and then we'll come back with the next deciding game until we have the winning championship club. Okay, baseball fans, we are back here. This is the box score of Game 1, where Pittsburgh came back in the 7th and 8th innings. Nice work there, overcoming a 3-0 deficit to Steve Carlton, with a 4-3 win in Game 1. What do the Phillies have an answer in Game 2? What do they do here in a Game 2? Let's take a peek here. Game 2, it's going to be Pat Dobson, 20-game winner from Baltimore. They traded Grant Jackson for him. He'd be an excellent reliever, and Dobson's an excellent starter. Worked out for both teams, really. Baltimore could afford to lose a 20-game winner. Dobson versus Jim Rooker. In this one, Pirates get to Dobson early. He makes an error, and then a bunch of singles and a walk and a sac fly. It's 3-zip. 4th inning, they get to Rooker. A double by Boone, an RBI single by Harmon, 3-1. Bottom of the inning, a single RBI double by Richie Hebner, having a huge series. It is 4-1. 6th inning, they get to Rooker again, a single, an error by the shortstop. Again, the Pirates don't have a decent middle infield at all. You like to think it won't hurt them, but it probably will. He makes an error, and then with 2 outs, you get an RBI single and an RBI single. It's 4-3. Rooker leaves after 6. We talked about the Phillies and their big bad right-handed batters at the top of the lineup. So they bring in righty specialist Bruce Keeson to knock the bats out of these dudes' hands. Luzinski steps in the box and knocks the ball out of the ballpark, and it's a 4-4 tie. So much for Bruce Keeson. He sticks around, does Keeson, and pitches 3 more innings, scoreless. As does the bullpen of Dobson. Leaves after 8 innings. Just the struggles early, and then they brought in Max Garce and Fred Gladding. This thing goes 11 innings. After Keeson goes 3 scoreless after the solo homer, they bring in Ramon Hernandez. You can't touch him, at least today. 6 up and 6 down. Bottom of the 10th, a single by Sanguini, and he gets stranded. Bottom of the 10th, Fred Gladding is asked to stick around. He's gone an inning and a third. They're asking him to stick around for a few batters here, save the bullpen. But unfortunately, Richie Hebner, the leadoff hitter, greets him with a 1-8 homer on his own card. That is it. Richie Hebner walks the Pirates off in the bottom of the 11th inning of Game 2 by a score of 5-4. And the Pirates have won the first 2 games. The series will go to Philadelphia. The Pirates are guaranteed a trip back to Pittsburgh, regardless of what happens in Philadelphia. If you are wondering, because remember we talked about these 2 teams playing in that series in the tournament, was there a way that Philadelphia could have knocked Pittsburgh out and eliminated them altogether? Well, what happened was Philadelphia had home field advantage in that one, so games 1 and 2 were at the Vet in Philly. They won them. All they had to do for Pittsburgh's season to be over was go to Pittsburgh, Three River Stadium, beat them in a Game 3 or a Game 4. They did not. And then when they returned to the Vet for Game 5, they did beat Pittsburgh. They did not go to Pittsburgh and win a game, and ladies and gentlemen, they still haven't won a game in Pittsburgh. They're now 0-4. And now, if they do not win a game in Pittsburgh, they have no shot to go to the World Series, because Games 6 and 7, if necessary, would be in Pittsburgh. So there's your little problem. There's your problem, as I like to say. Let's go to Game 3. City of Brotherly Love. Bob Moose at Wayne Twitchell. Streaky game. Top of the first. Single, single, double, single. And quickly the Pirates are up 2-0. They want to sweep the Phillies. Not so fast in the third inning. Much like that Game 1 where they ambushed Steve Blass in the second inning, they ambushed Bob Moose. These Phillies, they seem to get it all cranked up in one inning. Double, single, 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 double, single. That's 6 hits and 5 runs. That's all the runs they would get. That's all the runs they would need. Wayne Twitchell goes 8 innings, gives up 10 hits, 4 runs. And yes, Stargell hits a solo homer in the 8th, make it close. But the Phillies win a baseball game. They win Game 3 at home to make this a series. 5-4 is your final. They'll have a day off, and the more good news for the Phillies is that Steve Carlton will come back on 3 days rest and pitch Game 4. Let's take a look at that. So we're back to Game 1 starters after day off. It is Steve Blass. It is Steve Carlton. Richie Hebner leads off the game. Solo shot. Nothing. Nothing else. That's it. Nothing else. Can Steve Blass win this game 1-0? Well, Philadelphia doesn't reach base in the first 3 innings. But they get a Mike Schmidt solo homer. They get a Tim McCarver solo homer. A Tim McCarver 3-run homer. And another Mike Schmidt home run. The Phillies reached base 6 times. All 6 guys scored. They left nobody on base. Phillies, 0 left on base. You got a single, you score. You hit a homer, of course, you score. Phillies tie the series rather easily against the perplexed Pirates by a score of 6-1. And so Lefty does get a victory after losing Game 1. However, that'll be the series for him. He will not be available for Game 7. Let's go to Game 5. If you're wondering, these teams have now played 9 baseball games, and the home team has won every game. So the Phillies will go back to Pat Dobson, who pitched well on losing calls. The Pirates will send Alan Foster. He's a pitcher they selected out of the St. Louis Cardinals system, and Cardinal fans will have to be sick in their stomach to watch what their young prospect does today. As Alan Foster goes 5 no-hit innings, gives up a single in the 6th, and gives up a run in the 7th. But Pat Dobson, again, this start wasn't as good as the previous one. You get a leadoff triple by Richie Hebner, Al Oliver single. You get a ground-out RBI by Sanguian. You get a 2-run double by Stennett. They get 5 runs in Game 5. 5-1. The road team finally wins a game, and that road team is the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates win Game 5. They get Keeson and Kelly and Hernandez to finish this thing. And the Phillies are now down 3-2, and they have to go to Pittsburgh, not win once, but win twice, something they have yet to do. And that's where we are in a Game 6. So let's show you what's happened back in Pittsburgh for Game 6. And we have Wayne Twitchell, pitched well in a defeat earlier, against Bob Moose, pitched well in a defeat. In this one, bottom of the first, a walk, a single, a ground out, RBI ground out, and a single with 2 outs by Stennett. 2-0 Pirates. Phillies, first 3 innings again, do not get a hit. 3 games in a row, first 3 innings, Phillies, 0 for 27 in the first 3 innings. That's a no-hitter. Of their last 3 games. 2-0 game. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Pop Stargell, not having a good year at all, except for the long ball, hitting about 210 with a ton of homers. Solo shot, 3-0. You get a double by Stennett, an RBI double with 2 outs by Zisk. It is 4-0. 6th inning. You get a couple singles, couple outs, then inexplicably with 2 outs, the catcher's X is rolled and Sanguillen makes an error to gift the Phillies a run. We are in Game 6 in Pittsburgh. The home team is up 4-1. They have a ticket to the World Series if they can get the next 9 outs and preserve a 3-run lead. And to do that, we'll show you the cards because they're still both in there. Wayne Twitchell for the Phillies, 13-game winner with a 2.50 ERA in 73, arguably his best year. And Bob Moose, his 72 card, 13-game winner, 2.51 ERA. Virtually very similar dudes in virtually their best cards, we think, in their careers. We'll go to the top of the 7th. Phillies, it's now or never. If you are going to mount a rally in the Steel City, time's ticking. You got 3 innings to do it. You haven't done it yet in either of these series you've played against the Pirates. Leading off in the top of the 7th, it's Larry Boa. 1-8 Boa is going to get double 1 single. Danny Doyle, 68 is another single to center field. Boa, will he go coast to coast down 3? He's going to go coast to coast down 3. He's a 16 against the 0 arm of Oliver just to get something going here, and he makes it. So he rolled a 12. That's a little risky, but you're down 3, and you're about to be eliminated, and you got to get a run, maybe a run here, and another run in the 8th. You got to get something going. So they have runners on the corners, and the batter will be Mike Schmidt. 65 is Short X, and here we go, folks. Here we go. Championship baseball. Can you play shortstop? Larry Milbourne. He's a 3E38. And Larry Milbourne gets a double play off his 3 defense, defying the maxim of you need to have a 1 or 2 at shortstop to win in the playoffs. The shortstop 6, fielding rating 3, a GBA with runners in the corners playing back. It's a 6-4-3 double play by Mike Schmidt. The runner from 3rd does score. So at least Boa, by going coast to coast, was able to score anyway. 2 outs, runner scores, Gary Maddox. 58 off of Moose, double 1-5. That's a base hit, and that's a point of weakness. Moose has to leave after 6 2/3. It seems like when I broadcast the game 6, like I did in the Tiger series, it's instant offense. So, we got 7 outs to get for your Pittsburgh Pirates to go to a World Series. You've got to put this in the hands of Ramon Hernandez and Dave Justy. They're the 2 best pitchers. The back end, both from 72, both with ERAs of sub-2. Hernandez, 5-0, 167, will be the first guy in here. You've got to beat Ramon Hernandez and Dave Justy if you're Philadelphia. Hernandez comes on in the 7th. Maddox is at first. You're still not going to run against Manny Sanguillen when a homer like Greg Lazinski could tie this game. So Maddox is at first with 2 outs. The pitch to Greg Lazinski. 3-6 is a K. All right. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th from Pittsburgh. Stretch time music. We are enjoying The Intruders' 1975 Energy of Love. Be thankful for what you got. This is a cover of the classic great LP by Pennsylvania band The Intruders. Be thankful, Pittsburgh, you got the Phillies in the League Championship Series, is what I would say. Bottom of the 7th. Wayne Twitchell will continue. It's Al Oliver. 67, single 1-5, line out. Willie Stargell, 2-8. Let's take a look at Pop Stargell card. He homered in the 5th inning. And now on 2-8 against a righty, it is gone. A solo shot. It is 5-2. Rennie Stennett, 1-6. Double 1 of 13 is a base hit. Might as well take him out now for your defense so you don't remember. Mazeroski's going to play defense for Stennett in the top part of the 8th inning. Bob Robertson, 47 is a K, and with 2 outs, Richie Zisk. 110 is a single, and now it's Sanguian. Twitchell's a starter 8, he'll continue. 48 is a K. Tough break for Twitchell. He gives up the homer to Stargell in the 5th, and you could argue, why do you pitch to him here in the 7th inning? It's the same argument you can't really use against this Pirates team. Why do you pitch to Hebner and Clemente and Oliver and Stargell and Stennett, etc.? There's just no safe place in this Pirate lineup. As they finally, after a couple years now, seem to have this thing tuned up rather nicely, this Pittsburgh offense. We go to the 8th inning. It is a 5-2 game. Probably the best thing about the Pirates is that Rennie Stennett's not playing second base anymore. They survived that. He's Bill Mazeroski is a 2E10 playing second base for the final 6 outs if they can get him. Dave Justy is warming. Ramon Hernandez will face Darren Johnson leading off in the 8th with a 5-2 lead. 38's a walk. John Callison, he will leave the game. He can't hit lefties, so they'll go to Roy Foster. 59 for Foster is second C. Runner at second for Tony Taylor. 2-8 for Taylor is single ... and that will score a run. And it is 5-3. The Phillies will not go quietly. McCarver, let's take a look at his card. He does not necessarily leave the game against a lefty. I know they've got Bob Boone, but it's nice to have an extra option for a right-handed pinch hitter if you need it. So McCarver's going to swing away here in a 5-3 game against Ramon Hernandez, who's better against righties than he is against lefties. So Taylor's at first after the walk, ground out, and single. And the batter's Tim McCarver with 1 out. 67 is a strikeout. Well, that is a whole moot point. And now you got Boa, and you could, theoretically here, take your shot at a game-tying homer through a pinch hitter. Unfortunately, none of these guys. Let's try Terry Harmon. Terry Harmon's going to pinch hit for Boa because we're getting close to the end of their season here. Let's take a look at Terry Harmon. He really does well against lefties. Doesn't have power. Has power versus righties, so you'd think they wouldn't bring in Dave Justy to face him and surrender a game-tying homer. But Harmer is a much better hitter than Boa against the lefty like Hernandez. So he will face Terry Harmon against Ramon Hernandez with 2 outs and a man on. Here's the pitch. 1-8 for Harmon is a grounder to short. So he should have been here. I played the whole game with these guys in the wrong spots. So Harmon, Denny Doyle was playing this whole game at second. There we go. They had the wrong name in there. I was looking at that funny, but no. Denny Doyle batted 9th the whole game, starting against Moose with Harmon on the bench. And so we fixed that. That would have been brutal. So Harmon as a pinch hitter for Boa here in this spot makes the final out. Doyle will lead off in the 9th inning of a 5-3 game. Twitchell will leave. The Phillies will go out with their best pitcher in the bullpen. That's Joe Horner, who had a great year in 71, 4-5 with a 1.97 ERA. And it'll be Larry Milbourne. 4-11 off of Horner is left X, but this is Lazinski, a 4-13 in left field, and that's a 2-base error. Shoddy defense for both clubs. 58 is a K. I'm not getting a good vibe from either of these teams when it comes to World Series. Again, Pittsburgh, he flies out. Oliver flies to center X. 3-13 in center. Makes the play. We'll go to the ninth. We'll go to the ninth of a 5-3 game, and it really has not been much out of the National League this year. They were minus 15 under against the American League, and the number 1 seed in the American League, the Detroit Tigers, are already in the World Series. Looks like they'll be playing the Pirates, and I think the Tigers like their chances, frankly. I know Pittsburgh won the 71 series, but as much as their offense has been up and down, their defense has been kind of poor. 5-3 game in the ninth. Denny Doyle will bat because he's okay against lefties. 1-7's a K. And now when you go up top and you face the 4 brutal righties, it's time for Dave Justy. So, let's see, he went inning and 2/3. There we go. Dave Justy will come on in the ninth to try and get the final of 2 outs to send the Pirates to the World Series with a Game 6 victory here. To do that, he'll have to get 2 out of Schmidt, Maddox, Lazinski, and Darren Johnson out. 2 of those guys will have to come out here. He'll have to get 2 of those guys out to go to the World Series. So here's Mike Schmidt, not having a good day. He walked and hit no double play today. Pitch to Schmitty. 52, skies the center, and with 2 outs, it's Gary Maddox. He's actually had a nice day. 3 singles. The last chance for your Philadelphia Phillies. 2-3, pops to short, and that is it. And the Pirates do indeed go to the World Series in kind of a surprising fashion. In a strange way of doing it, they're the preseason World Series favorite. They played a lackluster first half of the season, and then in August they caught fire, and now finally they get to the World Series, and Pop Stargell, got to give Pops his flowers here. 2 big homers in the 5th and 7th inning, particularly when they could have made a pitching change to get him out of there, or to get a lefty in there. Richie Hebner in the leadoff spot, scored a run in the 1st inning. Probably Hebner, or maybe even Al Oliver with the big hits in Game 1. One of those guys has been probably the most valuable hitter. Pirates get this victory, eliminating the Phillies. I'll take this right into a little bit of a preview of the World Series, but we'll do a separate video for the World Series preview. Hernandez gave up a hit, a run, a walk, and a K in the 8th inning, and got the final out in the 7th inning. Moose does get the win. 7 hits and 2 runs. 1 was earned. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Probably would have kept on going had he not hit his point of weakness. Horner in the 8th, a strikeout. Twitchell, 7 innings, 13 hits and 5 runs. Was given a long leash because, frankly, it was the Philadelphia offense that wasn't doing much. Those 5 runs were all earned. 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. 1019-0108. 513-38, 513-38. 35210. Well, already I'm just thinking that in this World Series coming up, we will have the worst defensive performances in by shortstops in a World Series that I can ever remember, because the Tigers have 344 Verizon, and the Pirates have 344 Tavares and 338 Mazeroski, 338 Larry Milbourne. And that is just, terrible. 4-2. The Pirates are now 9 over 500, 34 1/4. We'll go plug these results in here. Pittsburgh wins 4-2. 9 over 500. And the Phillies finished 31-24. 7 over 500. Seven over 500. And so it will be Pittsburgh going to the World Series. Okay, 16-9. Yeah. And 9-7 here. Oh, 9-7, that's right. Okay. All right, got the final numbers here of games over 500. The Tigers are 16 over 500. Pittsburgh's 9 over 500. Doesn't matter. Detroit got home field as a #1 seed, winning their division anyway with their regular season record. You know, this is last year's result. Reds won the World Series, finishing 35-15. Oakland was runner-up 34-21. The Pirates have 4 more wins, but you have to remember that they had to play a lot more baseball to get those because they were extended. Tigers took a big chunk of the tournament off because they had clinched the #1 seed, so they've only played 44 games this year. Look at the disparity of games played. The Pirates have had to play 59. They've won, a decent chunk, but they've been tested and been through the wars because they've struggled so much this year. But right now, the Pirates are on a roll, winning 4-2 over the Phillies, 4-2 over the Giants. They beat the Cubs 3-1. They beat Houston 3-0. So that's a 6-1 and 8-4. That's 14-4. Or 14-5. Yeah, the Pirates are doing good stuff now. And Pittsburgh and Detroit will be a really cool World Series. Some notable omissions. We don't get Steve Carlton in the World Series. We don't get the Orioles in the World Series. Teams with good starting pitching and good defense. It's going to be the Lumber. The Pittsburgh Lumber Company, the Detroit Lumber Company. Tons of offense out of these two teams who don't care a lot for defense. We could see one of the highest scoring World Series we've ever had. So break it up. The Detroit Tigers will face the Pittsburgh Pirates, the 1971 world champion. They've done it. They were almost eliminated a long time ago. And they survived 3 elimination games and have caught fire since. And they're in the World Series trying to do what they did in traditional Major League Baseball 1971. They won't do it facing the Orioles. They'll have to do it facing the Tigers. We'll see if they can make that accomplishment. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.